Hi, and welcome to Phin. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to be walking you through a complete demo of the Phin platform. Now, I'll be walking you through everything you would need to do to set up a security awareness training program for your own company or for a customer that you're administering this program to. So there's three main areas that I'll be focusing on and that Phin is made up of. First, I'll show you how easy it is to automate the creation and setup of a continuous campaign for your users. Next, I'll show you how they manage themselves. You don't have to babysit any dashboards, and features such as reporting are completely automated. And the last thing I'll show you is that we've created a platform in Phin that focuses on education to users, how they can change their behaviors around cybersecurity. And the goal is not to punish users for making mistakes, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on as we get into it. So the first thing you can see here is your partner homepage. And so if you were a Phin partner, this is exactly the view you would see when you log in. This is the option that you have to see all of your accounts. You can see, admins on your accounts as well. And so the cool thing about Phin and the fact that it's multi-tenant, you can have different tenants for your different companies here. And we'll go ahead and do the creation of a company here in a second. But the first thing I want to show you is branding. And so if you come here to the left-hand nav menu at this partner home and go to branding, you'll be able to see some branding options. So you have the option to, of course, change your partner name. You can also change the logo and upload a logo here at the partner level. And if you upload a logo here at the partner level, it will automatically adopt down to all of your customer accounts. So you only need to upload your logo once, as long as that's the logo you want to use. You also have the option per each customer tenant to change that. If you have a unique logo, you want to get a specific logo for one of your customers, it's co-managed, something like that. But you have the option here, if it's just one logo, you can upload it once here. It goes to all of your tenants, your customer accounts, and you can be done with it. So very easy to do. And this is the logo that will appear in the end user's LMS so that they know that the training and phishing is coming from you. It'll also appear in welcome emails as well. Nice little way to kind of white label the solution so you're able to have that as an option going forward. Okay, so we'll come back to the partner home here, and we'll go ahead and set up a new customer for this, and I'll just go ahead and call this test123 for this test customer here. Okay, and so this is kind of at the company level, at the customer level, and so when you're in this tenant, you'll see 5 main steps for setting up a new account, a new tenant, customer, whatever you want to call it here, depending on how you're using it. And so starting with personalize, you can see here, this will actually just take us to a very similar view to where we just were in the branding section at the partner level. And so you can get here on the left-hand nav menu from branding as well, and also on that home page where we saw personalize. So this will give you the option to change this company's name at any time if you ever wanted to. And you can also upload your logo here at the company level, like I mentioned, at any time. That will override what you did at the partner level. So a nice little feature there. So if I made any changes, that would be reflected here with a green check mark. I did not, so and the system recognized that I did not. So I'll go ahead and override this kind of check mark here. This is kind of just like a checks and balances for your sake. If you want to come back to something, you can leave it unchecked and know that you need to come back to it. If you did it, it'll check itself. So very easy to kind of follow along as you're setting up these steps. Next, we'll go into email settings. And so the surest way for delivery for all of our phishing simulated emails, these are emails that look very malicious in nature. We don't want them to be flagged by third-party services because it is a simulation, of course. So the surest way to ensure that they're not flagged and they are delivered is to allow lists. And so we have our 2 sending IPs here. The big one is going to be this one. That's the phishing emails one. Our training emails don't really get flagged because they're not viewed as malicious. And then we also have several sending domains that will send these phishing emails from. So most of our partners, if they're able to, they just kind of allow list the sending domains as well as the sending IP and call it a day. But we have additional configurations as well. And so feel free to take a look at our knowledge base on a lot of that setup. So that's all right here in our public knowledge base that you can take a look at, and you're able to access it right here from email settings. So next we'll get into welcome emails. And so welcome emails are a great tool. You can see we're actually just back in like the branding section here. It's actually the same section. So if you scroll down, you'll see the welcome emails area. So welcome emails are a great tool to essentially be able to welcome new users into the program. And so we find that there's a lot more buy-in from end users actually understanding what's expected of them, understanding what's going to happen. This is something that end users need to complete in terms of a training program. And so we have a template here that you can use. You can toggle this preview to edit so that it's completely customizable. We have tokens in here to populate your names under partner name, as well as this company's name as well. Again, you can change any of this at any time. This is the preview that we have. You can also enable this to send automatically to new users as well. So we'll detect if new users are coming in, and if you have this option enabled via this toggle, you have some sending options here. Who's this going to? You can set some audience filters, but as long as they meet the audience criteria after you click Save Changes, new users coming into Phin will automatically be sent this welcome email as long as this is enabled. So nice little feature you don't have to worry about. If you add someone to Phin or in the Azure tenant that comes into Phin, you don't have to worry about sending manually a new welcome email as well. You do, speaking of that, though, have the option to send it manually under the user management section. I'll get to that as we get into users, which actually will be right now. And so the first thing, though, I want to show you with user management is the sync with Azure. And so it's a really great tool that you can use if you have all of your users in an Azure environment. You can just sync them right over. Each company tenant that you're in only needs one initial sync, and after that initial sync, it'll automatically bring over changes in terms of new users being added, changes to existing users every 6 hours. So it's a nice tool that you kind of only have to manage your users in one place rather than in Azure and in Phin. So very nice there. So if you go ahead and sync with users, you can go ahead and continue to Microsoft. And this will request some permissions. It'll take me to my Microsoft tenant, request some more permissions on the Microsoft side, and then it will go through this authentication process, consent process, and then soon it'll take us to a staging environment where you can kind of preview exactly who's coming in from the Azure tenant, what groups are coming in. That'll actually be the first step. And then individual users as well. And so it'll kind of give a summary of when these users will sync over. So it'll be in your time zone, 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m., and midnight are the syncing windows. So if you add a user at 3 p.m. In your time zone, those changes from Azure into Phin won't be reflected for another 3 hours at the 6 p.m. window. So all right, and so these are all of our example groups that we have. So the first step is always to select if you have any groups specifically that you want brought in. This is where you can do that. We've gotten the feedback a lot of times like, hey, I've got 1,000 users in my Azure tenant, but only 500 need training with Phin. So the recommended route there is to add those 500 users into an Azure group. You just, let's say they're in this taco group, you just bring this taco group in and only those 500 users get added. It's very easy and straightforward. You don't have to go through and individually make those other 500 users inactive on the Phin portal. So if you wanted that, that's great. If you just want all active users with a license in your Azure tenant to be brought in, just go ahead and skip this step, and all these groups will be brought in where you can actually make campaigns that have an audience just to this group. So I'll explain that more as we get into campaigns, but just know if you want all active users in for this company, just go ahead and skip this step like so. So then we're getting into the staging environment. Like I mentioned, this will kind of preview all users that are being detected and potentially brought into the Azure environment. And so these are all of the active users with a license in this test Azure environment that I have here. So you can see it's 11 active users and 20 groups. And so since I skipped that last step, all of those groups are being brought in. And you can use, they're mostly just static in the Phin environment. We bill for active users. And so any user that is active and receives a training video in that month, receives a phishing video or a phishing template in that month, or accesses their training in the LMS will be a billable user. If a user is slept, that means they're inactive and they're not billable, they're not receiving these things. And then groups are just really supplemental in terms of they can be tied to filter an audience in a campaign. And I'll show you what that looks like as we get into campaigns, but just know that for this environment, this would have 11 billable users, kind of not, that would not, you don't really include those 20 groups, I should say. So 11 active users, and then this environment's really great. You have the option, if you want to go through this, you can also do it later. And you have the option to sleep any email aliases or users that should not be receiving training. A lot of times, that's like accounting 123 at XYZ company, right? And so for this one, I'll just go ahead and sleep this test account. And so now it's going to say I have 10 active users once I commit this thing. So if I'm good and I want to bring these 10 users in and this one slept user in, I can do that by committing this sync. And so it'll commit the first sync. We can see a summary of what it just did, and then we'll go to our users and see them reflected in the Phin platform. So as I mentioned, you can kind of see a summary, 10 active, 11 total, since I slept one of those users down here. But you can see no syncing errors. You can see the sync times, midnight, 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. And so, very easy to kind of get a summary of everything that happened. And again, you only have to do this once per company tenant. It's very handy and kind of runs on its own after that point. So okay, awesome. So since we did that, we should be able to see all of them in our user management section, which we do. And so we have those 10 active users. The 11th is slept here. And so, this is kind of like a good summary of, where your users live in Phin. You can get there from the left-hand nav menu. And so if you, wanted to, if you're like, oh, actually, I need to, sleep Dan here, I can go ahead and select Dan and sleep this user. And you're like, wait, actually, I don't want to do that. I can wake him up with this sunshine icon. So you have the option anytime to sleep any of these users, make them inactive, or if you want to make them active again, you can wake them up with this icon. And so I also mentioned there's the option to send welcome emails manually. So you have that option here as well. So I wanted to send John a welcome email. I can do that with this welcome email section here. And I just select the date and time. It previews that template that we have, the body email that we have for the welcome emails. If I go ahead and confirm, they'll receive this welcome email. Obviously, I won't do that and spam our teammate John here, but you have that option as well. And then, of course, delete. And so those are kind of the four main functions of user management within Phin once your users are in. The cool thing is, like I said, with Azure, you don't have to manage this side of the house in Phin. You just keep your Azure tenant nice and tidy. If you have users coming in via a group, those changes are automatically reflected in those time windows. Same with just active users. And so if you don't have Azure, that's okay too. You can upload a CSV for your users. It can be any basic CSV. 3 columns are required: first name, last name, email address. And so all you would do is upload that here. We also have a sample CSV with those 3 columns plus some optional columns as well. But basically, you would just upload this here. I will go through this matching process where it'll say, it looks like this first column is titled first name. Should this be for first name? Should this be the first name column? And you'll say yes. And then last name, is this last name? Yes. And so you'll kind of go through that. And then once that's done, you import them into Phin, and you should be able to see all of them right here. Very easy and straightforward. We have knowledge base articles around how to do all of this, actually. So very easy. If you ever wanted to have a company level or a co-manage admin, you can do that here. And so it's a really great resource for an admin to be just able to manage just this tenant. They can have access to upload users, create campaigns, and a really great use case for this is they have the option to view all of our phishing templates and all of our training modules, so you don't have to send them all to this person. So they can just come in and access all of those things very easily and kind of decide what they do like in terms of those templates and training modules and what they don't like. So very, very easy and straightforward. So going back here, and you'll notice I use this top right area a lot to navigate. This would navigate to my partner homepage. This would navigate to my company that I'm in, test 1, 2, 3. So I'll go ahead and go back to my company that I'm in. And we'll go ahead and go to campaigns, kind of the bulk of what we're doing here. So we did those first 4 steps. You can see the user management check happened automatically since I imported users in. And so Once we get here, we'll go ahead and create a continuous campaign. And so that's probably what 90% of the partners that we work with do, is go through this continuous campaign creator, answer 7 questions about their customer, and they get hit with continuous phishing and training campaigns that really run until you tell them to stop. You also have the option via these training and phishing dashboards to create very custom fixed length campaigns. You can upload your own content. You can create your own phishing template within our platform. So lots of customization options I can get into later as well. But for now, we'll just go ahead and stick with the continuous campaign creator, as it's kind of the bread and butter of our platform to get those campaigns going. So like I said, it's very easy. You answer these 7 questions. It's essentially the most custom that we can make it, generally speaking. So it'll include, if you click yes here, right, it'll include some GDPR training for this company, employees that work remote. And a lot of these questions outside of GDPR, and you'll see a HIPAA one later, are really just trying to formulate what not only training videos should be included, but also what phishing templates should be included. So if you have an internal IT department, it might be a phishing template from your internal IT department, right? If you didn't have one, and I clicked yes here, and they got a phishing template from an internal IT department, that probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. So trying to make this as believable as possible, right? So that we're bringing in the right amount of content on both sides of it. And then, of course, this would include HIPAA training. And so if you get to, you answer those 7 questions, you get to this review page, you can kind of see how this works in terms of these campaign tags for the phishing campaign and the topics for the training campaign. And by default, these 2 campaigns that I just created are separate. They have separate content, of course. They're separate in terms of how they're scheduled, all of that stuff. And so how it stays continuous is all of our phishing templates are associated with a tag, and all of our training topics or modules are associated with a topic. So for training, for example, if I were to do once a month training, the first month would be a module under the topic of phishing. Then the second month would be under device security. And then third month would be a module under passwords, etc., all the way down to HIPAA. And then once you get back up to that first topic, so in this example, phishing, it will be a different training module under the phishing topic, and then a different training module under device security, all the way down. It'll keep repeating this process as we have hundreds of courses that it will go through. So it'll take, I think if you're doing once a month training, in this style, it'll take, I think, 8 years before you get a duplicate training module. And at that point, we should have even more training content than we currently have right now, since we're always expanding our offering with training. So, and phishing works in the same way as well, except for the fact that with phishing, no 2 users get the same phishing email at the same time. So different users are getting different phishing emails for this first round under the notification section. And so how that works, and I'll get to the scheduling page here, is we actually have a phishing sending window that you can customize here as little as 3 days or as many as 7 days. It'll send these, let's say it's 3 days, over a 72-hour period during business hours, not on the weekends, of phishing emails under that tag. And like I said, someone might get a phishing email on the first day. It might be, a Microsoft phishing email, and then someone will get a completely different email on the second day at a different time. So, a great way to kind of keep it authentic is to utilize continuous campaigns with these phishing windows. And like I said, it's a great way to make it a very authentic experience and simulate exactly what the bad guys are doing, which is really what we're all about. And so, for scheduling, it's very straightforward. I'm not going to necessarily walk through this right now, but you can see here, all you would do is kind of set your start date. So this is the soonest that you want your campaign to, you set your start date, and then your cadence down here will pick up after this start date. So if I knew that I didn't want this to go out for several months, I can set the start date to be like Christmas Day, right? And then because it's once a month on the first Monday of the month, it'll pick up after this start date. And so the next first Monday of the month after the 25th of December is January 6th. So you can play around with that, play around with your start date. If you want it as soon as possible, of course, just make it the next day. So in this case, that would be August 7th. And then the next first Monday of the month is, of course, the next one, which is September 2nd. So But if I wanted it to be sooner than that, I could be once a month on the third Monday of the month, and that would be 8/19. I could probably even do once a month on the second Friday and make that even faster here. Yeah, so 8/9, and so that's only a couple days after today. So, you can play around with these scheduling features, kind of, get a calendar up while you're doing it. And like I said, these are separate. So that was just for phishing. You'll have to do the same thing for training as well. Training is, of course, much more straightforward. We're not trying to fool anyone with training. So you can just, set it at that date, and you can see the date and time that it will actually fire here. So very easy to set up. All right, so I completed that process. I completed actually all of these steps for security awareness training. And so now technically you have a fully functioning automatic, set of campaigns for phishing and training that will run continuously until you tell them to stop. And I know I took about 20 minutes explaining all of this, but I promise you, once you kind of do this at least a couple of times, it takes 10 minutes or less to do this exact setup. So it's very easy and straightforward. And kind of the sixth step that I think is always very important to highlight is reports. And so the cool thing about Phin is you have the option to send reports automatically. You don't have to, create reports. I get that feedback a lot, is like we spend so much time creating reports for our stakeholders, and with Phin you don't have to do that. It's just a matter of turning it on. So all you would do is set your report viewers. So I'll just have that as me for now. And you can turn on weekly or monthly reports right here. And so if I'm doing once a month training and phishing, it makes the most sense to do monthly reports, because the other weeks that I'm not doing that won't have a ton of data behind it. Just some people might be clicking a couple weeks after they fire, or completing training. But the best option usually is monthly reports, but of course you're free to do anything you'd like. So for this, the cool thing is we have a ton of optional fields here to include in the PDF report. The main two that I would say are this historical data table and users to watch. I always recommend including those just because. So for historical data, that's the historical data for all users over the last 12 months. Have they been clicking on phishing emails? Have they not? Have they completed their training? Have they not? Right? And users to watch is a table that will actually highlight users in that time period. So for this month, that have either clicked on a phishing email and or not completed training. So kind of highlighting those users that could use a little bit of extra coaching there, right? And so we also have some CSV outputs of some raw data sets that you can get separately sent. And then you also have this phishing PDF report. It's a bigger deep dive into phishing statistics in a separate report. So feel free to test that, take a look at any of that. We also have the option for reporting history. So anything that's generated automatically from these monthly or weekly reports are generated here in this table. You can see when reports were sent, the scope, what month was it for, and then you can actually download the report as well. And then you also have the option to generate a report ad hoc. So if a stakeholder was like, I need one right now, you can do that right here and add a report immediately to the report viewers. You enter in their email address, click add, and then do the same thing. Include any optional fields, any raw data sets that you'd like to include, anything like that. So, and that will of course also appear in the reporting history table that you can download as well. So for this, I'll go ahead and turn this off so I don't spam myself with more emails. It's kind of the last thing I need here. So we'll go ahead and so reports is very external facing. You don't need access to the Phin platform to view reports. They're sent via email in a PDF automatically on a regular cadence, whether that's weekly, monthly, or ad hoc. So for analytics, we also have a live analytics dashboard, and I'll go ahead and actually change my view here to an existing tenant that you can kind of see some actual data of campaigns that have launched. So if I go to phishing or training, I'll start with training analytics. So if you just come to training on the left-hand nav menu and then analytics, you can come to the training analytics section. And so you can see, sorted by course view. So these are all the courses that have launched for this company. So for this one, I have creating secure passwords. It looks like none of these users have completed it based on this graph. It can show how many users are enrolled in this, how many are active, right? And then if you scroll down, you can see an individual breakdown of each user. Are they active? Have they completed the course? What's their score? By default, Phin will send automatic weekly training reminders to users that have not completed a training. If they have any outstanding trainings, they'll automatically get a weekly reminder, a week out from the last time they logged in, saying you have outstanding trainings, please complete them, right? You as the admin also have the option to send a training reminder to kind of accelerate that process if you'd like to. So if Drew here needed to complete his training, in addition to the automatic weekly reminders that get sent out, I could send one to him automatically as well. Awesome. And then if we go to user view here, we can see a breakdown of both training and phishing statistics by user. And so it's a really helpful tool. You can see for this user, they have 16 incomplete courses. Again, you can send the reminder from here. They're active. And you can see all of the phishing templates that they've been sent, when they were sent, have they clicked on it, have they reported it as a phishing email, which I'll talk about here in a second, and have they completed the learning moment, which is another area that I can cover as well. If you wanted to see the specific template, like if someone's asking, hey, is this a phishing email? Not only can you add a custom header from Phin on your emails to see if it's coming from Phin or not, you can also come right here and say, oh, when was it sent? 7/2? It's a Slack email. Yeah, this came from us. This is exactly what it looks like and the email that I was forwarded. So, a really good way to kind of see what was sent when and whether or not it was clicked. You can also see all of the training that was sent, when it was assigned, completed, and course status. And then you also have admin actions such as marking it as complete as well. And then for phishing, same kind of idea here. You can sort it by user view. You have some really nice graphs. So year over year is what you can do here. You can change that to, a more custom or 90-day kind of graph here. So you have the option to do that here. You can kind of see what's the most clicked on templates right here. And then you can see a breakdown of individual users, what they've been sent, how many times they've clicked on it, sort it by the number of clicks, right? And so see, who's clicked the most. I just sorted it to most clicks, and Drew would be at the top here. And how many have they reported, and then have they completed those learning moments? That's a result of clicking them. And then you can also, if you go to the user analytics eye here, it takes us right back to what we just saw, seeing those analytics for both phishing and training for those users. And so you also have the option to sort by clicks. So any click that happens in this campaign will appear in this clicks view. You can see some of the ones coming from Drew, what campaign they were from, when it was sent, what was the template name, the subject, the from address, also the click time, click IP address, all of that good stuff. So very easy to kind of see a history of, in real time of who's clicking what, when, all of the details surrounding that. So very useful tool there. All right, so that is training analytics, phishing analytics. If you notice, when I had this open, I also had the option for lots of things in the phishing area. If you come to this campaigns section here, you can kind of see some of the active campaigns, that are running. If I were to create a campaign right now, I could see it as one of the options under here. You can view campaign details, so like when this will launch next, who's enrolled. So you can see who's enrolled, the templates that are going to be fired, what's the cadence, when's the next phishing attempt, and then you can also edit any of those as well. If you wanted to create a campaign right from this dashboard, you could launch a phishing campaign. So you can select it as continuous or fixed length. So if I did test and test, I have the option to select the audience. And so audience filters are really great if you want to, especially if you want to do multiple campaigns for different Azure groups, different departments, supervisor groups, etc. You have the so by default, all of our campaigns will be full company, but you have the option to change that. If you wanted to change that after a campaign has launched, you can edit it. By just going to the edit feature on the dashboard. You can also do it preemptively by doing, creating a new campaign from the dashboard outside of those 7 questions that we saw earlier. And so you can see here the audience that will be enrolled. If I wanted to change it by department, I can come here to human resources, and we have a user popping up that has that human resources in their user profile section. So Very, very easy way to include different departments in different phishing campaigns. Like if this was going to be a human resources only campaign, this is kind of how I could do that. I could also, have shared supervisor, people who have shared supervisor emails, you can have that here, or Azure groups. So all those groups that were brought in, I mentioned the taco group earlier. If I were to bring that in, actually they don't have any users. So I'm going to go ahead and do, I think it's, let's see, it might be nested group. One of the groups in here has several users that kind of show up, and you can see the users as a summary of that. But anyways, I digress. So if there were users in these groups, you'd kind of see them here, and you can kind of have an audience based on just Azure groups, and it's very easy to manage, because then you're just adding users into that Azure group on the Microsoft side. And you don't have to again worry about managing that from the Phin side. And so that only that doing it by groups and audience by groups only works if you have the Azure Sync connected to Phin. So for now, I'll just leave it as full company, and then you have the option to select individual templates right here if you wanted to. So you can go ahead and select some of these, and you can preview any of them if you'd like to. And then if you ever wanted to run a preview, you can do that here. Go to scheduling, launch it. You can kind of set when it's going to be launched. You can set it, to be weekly, whatever you want to do. And so if you ever wanted to see all of our templates, it's in the template library. I won't go through all of them, of course, but you can see some here. You can actually create your own template, and we have a full guide in our knowledge base on how to do that. And then training is, kind of the same idea. You can see any, under the dashboard, under campaigns, you can see any campaigns that I've created. You can see the audience, the courses that I've already launched, and then any future courses as well under which topic they're going to be under. So very helpful there. And then same idea, if I wanted to create a campaign from this section, I have the option for fixed. So it's just a certain amount of courses over a fixed length of time, and then it ends. Continuous. And then we also have the option for onboarding as well. And so onboarding is really cool. You can see once I did that, the scheduling feature just left. So this is for if you have new users coming in, you can set up a onboarding campaign for them to get a certain number of courses right when they join the Phin system. So they'll detect them as a new user and then send them an onboarding campaign. If you need every new user to take HIPAA, you just select HIPAA as the curriculum. And we'll just go ahead and I won't go search for HIPAA, but we'll say that this social proof is HIPAA. And any new user that comes in, as long as they meet this audience criteria here, they will see that this is a course automatically assigned to them in addition to any other campaigns that you have live. So very useful there. But again, for fixed length, it's kind of same idea. You can see the curriculum builder. We have pre-built campaigns that kind of cover different areas. Might be for the finance team. So we have kind of like templates and standard courses for finance team, technical teams, executives, extended security awareness, things like that. So feel free to take a look through those if you'd like to. Multi-language courses. We've got several courses in multi-language. And then we also have, these are essentially just all of our courses here. So you can go ahead and pick them individually if you wanted to, schedule them out. You can schedule them to be, any cadence or just all at once. They get them all on this date and time. Very easy. So that is the full scope of a lot of things, but analytics, campaigns, reporting, users, all of that good stuff. The last thing I want to show you here in the Phin portal is this integration section. So we actually have a newer integration called the report phishing button. And so the really cool thing about the report phishing button is it gives end users the opportunity to take action on phishing emails in their inbox. So it's an Outlook plugin that you can use for users to be able to report emails as phishing and integrate those statistics and review that email in the Phin environment as well. So you can go ahead and connect this. It'll ask for some permissions. It'll have you continue to Microsoft here, and then you'll accept those permissions, right? And then at this point, it's going through kind of like we did with the user sync, another consent process. And so once you do that, you'll be met with some options for the report phishing feature. you have the option to, well, do a lot of things, but for reported emails, you have the option to send those to any 5 email addresses of your choosing. Could be a shared inbox, etc. So this is kind of what I'm talking about here. This forwarding addresses, you can add different contacts. Really, any email address these can be sent to if they're reported as phishing. We also have additional permissions as well. You can customize where reported non-Phin emails go to, junk or deleted items, and then the manifest. So to set this up, you'll have to download the manifest. Once you download that, you'll come here to your Azure tenant, and you can go to Settings, and then Integrated Apps, and you'll go ahead and select, I believe, yeah, it's Office Add-in under here. And then go ahead and upload the manifest. Once you do that, it will be connected to the end user's inbox, and you can get started with reporting, have them reporting phishing emails, and then seeing those in analytics and in reporting. I mentioned those earlier. You have the option to see those in real time, who's reporting phishes, who's not, right, if that's something that you guys are focused on. So very easy to go ahead and get set up from that perspective. So. Okay, so I'll go ahead and disconnect that for now. And so again, you can see all of our integrations there, so feel free to take a look at those at any time. So the next part of the demo that I have here that I kind of want to run through, and really the last part, is this the idea of the end user experience. What is the end user going to see for training modules and for phishing emails, right? So I'll go ahead and just kind of quickly run through this. And so this is an example of one of our phishing templates. And again, we've got, I think over 100 phishing templates, constantly adding to that number, trying to stay relevant in real time of trends that are out there. We've got like some CrowdStrike, phishing emails that we actually just created because actually that just happened a few weeks ago. So if you're watching this farther into the future, just know that that's kind of a relevant topic right now. So we've got that as an option. And so if I was an end user and I were to see this email, right? Obviously there's some clues here, but if I were to click this link here to track my FedEx package, I'm automatically taken to what is called a learning moment. And so we've gotten the feedback a lot of times from our advisors and people that we work with, that, hey, our end users feel like when they click on a phishing email, they're being punished because then they're taken to a random training video that's not really relevant to the action that they just took. And so, that's a huge issue, not being able to learn from the action that just happened and correct that behavior and change your behavior moving forward. And so that's exactly what learning moments aim to do, is change that behavior moving forward. So you have the option here to see, some of these tips or prompts, whatever you want to call them, right? And so you can move through them, kind of see some details of exactly what not to do, the action that just happened, and tips of how to spot phishing emails going forward. And a lot of times it's things like checking suspicious images, hovering over links to see where they take you before you go there, checking the sending domain, things like that. And so it's really useful. Most take about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. You go through those, and once you click done, that will register that they've completed this learning moment in their analytics that you can see there. And so in the analytics and reporting, you can kind of see that section for learning moments completed. This user, for this instance, I completed the learning moment. So I did click on the phishing email, but I'm learning from my behavior, right? I'm learning to avoid that email or even report it in the future, so I don't click that again. So kind of teaching that really good cybersecurity hygiene, if you will. And so if you ever wanted to come back here, you can see what were they talking about here with the images, etc. So and then the last thing of this environment, this is actually our LMS, and so this is where your logo would occur in the phishing side of it. And so you have the option to have that brand recognition that, hey, this is actually a legitimate training that I need to go through by them seeing that logo there. So very helpful tool. And then for training, this is exactly what a training reminder looks like. And so it's very straightforward. It's all sent via email. And so the cool thing about our training is users don't have to create an account. They don't have to remember another password. It's all email based via a unique link. And so they just come in here, they see the number of courses that are outstanding. So for this one, it just kind of highlights one. But all I have to do is click into here. They can save this in a folder somewhere. They can bookmark this page. And again, we also have automatic weekly training reminder emails being sent to anyone who has outstanding training, so they can get back to it from any one of those emails too. But if I was a user coming in here, I could see everything that's assigned to me right here when it was assigned to me, everything that I've completed, which for this example is nothing, and so or just all of it as well. So for this example, right, you can see several courses assigned to me. You can come in through and complete them. 90% of our trainings are actually 5 minutes or less, so they can kind of take a break really quickly from what they're doing. We kind of call it a commercial break. Go through this training module less than 5 minutes, answer a couple of questions just to check for understanding, and then they've completed it. They can move on with the rest of their day. So many times in security awareness training, the training is way too long. We want to make it short and to the point, and we get that there's this negative connotation with security awareness training sometimes because of how it's been done in the past. And so Phin aims to make it a really easy and seamless and sometimes even enjoyable experience as well, as a lot of our content is very interesting and enjoyable as well. So that is the training LMS, so that you can see here, and you can see the logo that I uploaded in a different account. This is our Phin logo, so you can see that white labeling there as well. So this is the training LMS, and so that is the end user experience. And again, feel free to take a look. We have documentation on our knowledge base on all of that, on being able to, not only see the end user experience, but how to do really everything in the platform. Set up campaigns. I'm pretty sure this video will be in the knowledge base. We've got knowledge base articles on how to set up users, very custom campaigns, how to create your own phishing template, etc. So lots of great features here. You can actually get there from our website or in any customer account on the partner homepage as well. You can come down here to this help and support section, go to help and documentation. That'll take you right there. We've got tons of resources for you, resources for your end users as well, marketing material, e-guides, things like that. So feel free to come here, take a look at any of that. And make it really easy to get started with Phin. Of course, we're here as a resource as well, myself, the partner experience team, as well as our support team via our submit a ticket section. So that's kind of the easiest way to get in touch with our support team. And then we also have a link to our YouTube page, some how-to videos. This video will be on our YouTube page, as well as all of our podcast recordings that our great CEO Connor does with so many great guests in the channel space. So feel free to check those out. Lots of really, really good content managed by our marketing team there. So that is really it. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We really appreciate it. If you're a Curtain partner, great. That's awesome. Feel free to reach out to us, the partner experience team, or myself, or our support team with any questions, like I mentioned. If you are a prospective partner, we'd love to have a conversation. Feel free to reach out if you do have questions to our team and our sales team. And we'd love to have that conversation around, cybersecurity and security awareness training. And so, we'd love for you to just see how easy it is to set this up, set up a customer in 10 minutes or less. It's very easy and straightforward, like I already mentioned. So, all right, that is it. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you out there. Thanks, everyone.